You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Yeah, and then we'll go down River Valley Road, and then we'll turn on the Walterdale Bridge. Yeah. No, I'm aware of what I said last week, but the Oilers are back. Let's get into it with the lead. Read the sign, everybody. Parade's back on. Oilers have won 2 in a row. Welcome into Oilers Nation every day at the show. Presentation at Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. It's Tyler. It's Liam. We're coming to you from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. Lance Kane is in the chat. Someone take Tyler's phone away. Mm-hmm. Lance, are you kidding me? I'm back on the Cuppier train. What more do you want?
I don't know if I'm fully back on board, but I enjoyed what I saw over the weekend. Steps in the right direction for sure.
Ryan also said Alex Plant is looking healthy AF. It is.
Others may disagree.
This is like the healthiest it's looked in a long time.
I just gave it a good watering.
So the weather has turned around. Alex Plant is living his best life. Mm-hmm. The Oilers have won 2 in a row.
What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know. Things are honestly going pretty well. Maybe I'll even finally win my roll up the rim.
Because one we'll know.
We only have 5 more days of shows to figure it out.
Roll up the rim?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it ends. I got to feel my phone, too. I could do
Okay.
it.
Yeah, you did win one of those. All right. Oilers win 2 in a row. Let's talk about it, everybody. Drop your takes in over on the YouTube chat. We'll get to a few of those. Nathan with a good one. Stu stopping all the shots he should. Check. Defense actually defending. Check. McDavid and Leon actually having fun. Check. General effort level above a 1 out of 10. Check. And yeah, I mean, we kind of said it would be tough for the Oilers to salvage this road trip on Friday's show. That was obviously before the game against the New York Islanders, but I think they almost kind of did. So we're going to grade the road trip. We're going to talk about all the different facets that kind of fueled the turnaround for the Oilers. But let's maybe kick things off, Liam, with the scoring summary from the weekend. It's for our friends at Charm Diamond Centers. You can find them online, charmdiamondcenters.com. You can get a custom ring built and delivered in less than 4 weeks through the Charm Masterpiece program. You can also apply for the Charm Diamond Flexity card today and get approved for no-interest financing on your purchase in minutes. Plenty of reasons to make Charm Diamond Centers your stop when you need to make that next big jewelry purchase in your life. CharmDiamondCenters.com. Oilers taking on the Islanders Friday night on Long Island, generally a vibeless arena. I was very, very concerned, and I will be honest, after watching the Oilers outshoot the New York Islanders 17-6 in the first period, I was sitting there going, boy, the longer this game goes tied, the more you probably favor the team with Ilya Sorokin and not the team with Calvin Pickard.
Especially after the last game the Oilers played with Pickard. He was good against Carolina for sure, but the Anaheim game was definitely not something he's going to be telling many people about in years to come. But yeah, I thought Pickard played well enough to obviously keep the Oilers at bay, the Islanders at bay as well when they had opportunities until the Oilers could figure out Sorokin, which took them a while.
Yeah, it really did. Again, the Oilers absolutely poured it on in this hockey game. Just purely shot attempts in the first period, 28-12. Second period, 24-21, and that is where the Oilers finally found the back of the net. Who else but Leon? 48th on the season for Leon Draisaitl. As he, again, is just kind of putting this team on his back. This is the Rangers game. We need Leon's goal from the Islanders game.
Well, there's a look at Corey Perry's game.
That's Corey Perry's goal. Here's Leon Draisaitl's goal. Again, another thing I want to talk about here is the fact that it was 0-0 and they just kept their lines together for the most part. And Leon, that's, maybe a goal Ilya Sorokin doesn't really give up. But also when you pour on, like, what would that have been halfway through the second period? That was like their 18th shot of the game. Okay, eventually one is going to go in. Like, it's a lesson that hopefully this team is going to take, which is we need to just pump pucks on net, and eventually things will start to go our way. So Draisaitl makes it 1-0, his 48th of the year. Oilers hold on to the lead until the second period, but then Bo Horvat found the back of the net, his 21st of the season, off a bit of a turnover here, probably one you don't want to see happen from one Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Horvat ties it up. Interesting to see Chris Knobloch made some pretty harsh coaching decisions in this hockey game. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I don't believe, saw the ice again in regular, or he sat for a little bit.
He missed one shift and then went out on the penalty kill.
Oh, yeah, they did put him out on the PK after that, but Nuge, after this giveaway, had his minutes peeled back. Corey Perry, after his penalty in the third period, had his minutes peeled back as well. So, again, Chris Knobloch, I think, he's coaching a little desperate. We saw that a bit, but I don't mind the idea of whether you're Nuge, whether you're Perry, who's having a great year, more on him in a bit, accountability. Like, it has to start at the top, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think it shows, too, like, it's obviously an aggressive approach to just one mistake and you're out of it. But like the Oilers have been making so many mistakes recently, and these games have been tight that they've been in. What is it now? I think 6 straight games of one goal performance or something like that, or close to at least, from the Anaheim game onwards, whatever it's been.
Yeah.
And I think it's the right call. Like, you can't, the mistakes that cost them goals on a nightly basis, and it is going to take stuff as harsh as that to bench 2 of your veteran players, but a message needs to be sent, and I respect it from Knobloch.
Yeah, game goes to overtime because, hey, why not go to overtime? The Oilers are on pace to set the NHL record for most overtime wins in a season.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. All they do is win in overtime and shootout, or overtime, I should say. But here's the Leon Draisaitl overtime winner, and just an awesome play by Calvin Pickard, who was in his bag in this overtime. Leon Draisaitl, the second he picked it up, you knew this guy wasn't going to miss. 49 on the season now for big number 29. He shows the appreciation for Calvin Pickard and goes and gives him a big bear hug. But do you have the other highlight I wanted to talk about, which was the pass was electric. That was not Calvin Pickard's best play with the puck in overtime. He was acting like just a skater in this one. Yeah. So he that's the feed up. Here's the clip I want. Arvidsson behind the net is in no man's land. He's in danger. It's turned over, and Calvin Pickard's like, you know what? Actually, I can just get in there and just get this one out of there. Pulls it out of a scrum. When was the last time at any level of hockey you have seen a goalie be like, I can get this puck out of the scrum? That's wild.
Yeah, I don't know if I have seen it before.
Like, straight up, I don't think I ever have.
It would have been awesome if you was able to just like pick that up cleanly and bring it around the net and get it going. But do you know what? I like the play. Like, what are you waiting for, right? At the end of the day, like, there's no one around. Like, if the puck's free, go get it. And yeah, Pickard, you can see too. And the one thing I love about Pickard is I don't think a loss like keeps him down. You know, I think he goes into the next one with a full clean slate and he's able to bounce back. And to me, this shows a level of confidence.
And again, like someone said, savvy, like definitely look at it, the way he doesn't really commit to this. And I know we're dissecting this small play quite a bit, but he doesn't commit until he can almost see that the Islanders guy is like fully tangled up and going down. So that was good. Someone called it beer league hockey. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but again, I like that little bit of scrappiness from Calvin Pickard.
I would also say if you ever watched Calvin Pickard play hockey before, you watch any road hockey goalie and then just go watch Calvin Pickard. It's the same thing.
Straight up.
He's just better than all of us at road hockey.
Yeah, K. Waddy said Arvidsson was terrible on that shift. Don't use him in OT. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of guys outside of the big guns that you should be trusting in overtime.
And also, too, Hyman obviously didn't play against the Rangers and only played 10 minutes against the Islanders.
Yeah, so
he was out for it.
Yeah. All right, let's continue along. The Oilers win 2-1. They snap out of their losing skid. Boom, monkey off the back. And I was very, very curious to see how they'd roll this into Madison Square Garden. Because on one hand, it's like, okay, do they have positive momentum? Are they starting to get some of the warts out of their game, start to feel themselves a little bit? We talked on Friday, like, where's the swagger of this team? Where's the heartbeat of this team? I was hoping that the Pickard play, all of that would really juice up this team. But also, you're at the end of, what, a 4 or 5 game road trip here?
4, yeah. And they just a week before been on a 5 game road trip. They've been on the road a lot.
Lot of travel. And I kind of thought this is a Rangers team who should be playing a very, very desperate brand of hockey themselves. They are fighting, scratching, and clawing in the playoff race in the Eastern Conference. I was a little bit nervous about where this hockey game was going to go. It went in the Oilers' direction. Granted, it was not easy, but in the first period, the Oilers, who did get a whole bunch of power play opportunities, 3 of them in total. It took until the third attempt late in the first. Decent little bit of puck moving here by the Oilers, but again, something they've been so reluctant to do is just hammer pucks on net. And if you put pucks on net, you will be rewarded. Corey Perry doing something that, hey, Zach Hyman hasn't done a lot of this year, and that is be a good net front presence on the power play and score goals. Like this is, we talked on Friday again, the lack of screenshots and second chance opportunities for the Oilers. Check. Both of these, or that goal had both of those things in it. Desperation, go hard to the net, create your own bounces, good shit happens. It's all of those cliches, but it's true.
Yeah, looking back at the shots from both these last two games, it was a lot of chaos in front. Like, even if it was similar to, Bouchard has it in the middle, fakes a shot, whatever, bumps it outside to Leon, and it's like, it causes a little bit of havoc, and the Oilers were doing a much better job at doing that. They seemed to be like, I know we spoke about the Islanders game, how they were getting a lot of shot attempts, but I didn't feel like they were just shooting to shoot. Like, they felt like purposeful, I guess you could say.
Yeah, totally. Again, one more look at it. Bang,
there
bang.
You
like, you get your little bounces. Like,
even Nuge right there, too.
Yeah, but like and Nuge going to the net. Like, you only get this if Nuge was engaged physically there with Trocheck. Like, that's a big part of the reason the goal goes in. Like, I know I've been someone who's harped on the math and been like, eventually things will start to go your way. You just have to keep shooting. And what we said on Friday is you also need to create your own bounces. Like, who was it on New Jersey? That Brett Pesce goal where it's like, I look at that and I go, that's a shit bounce for the Oilers. But also, that was two New Jersey Devils working their tails off in front of the net and Brett Pesce having good awareness. And again, you need to work hard to create some luck, but I really do believe that if the Oilers can keep doing what they did on that goal and on a couple of other goals, their luck will start to turn. The Rangers did tie this one up in the second period. Will Cully from Artemi Panarin and Vincent Trocheck. Credit to Sportsnet for the highlights, by the way. Some decent puck movement here. I think Brett Kulak maybe could have done a bit of a better job clearing it off the line. Brett Kulak actually is one of the few Oilers I looked at and was like, oh, man, he had a really, really rough weekend. But again, he's been asked to play a role. I see Aaron glaring at me. He's been asked to play a role that is way above what he is usually capable of and usually asked of. So if he's running out of gas a little bit and having a few bad games, I'm not going to sit here and roast Brett Kulak because, again, he's been such a net positive this season. But could Skinner have held on to that one a bit better? Sure, not going to roast a guy who goes 21 for 22 and makes some great saves in the third period. Could Brett Kulak have cleared it off? Sure, not going to roast a guy who has played above his head for the last 2 months, basically. So that's fine. It goes to the third period where, the Oilers, I thought, did a pretty good job of just sticking with it here. And another thing they did is they threw pucks on net. Again, this is something this team has really not wanted to do for quite some time. But they have 14 shot attempts at all strengths in the third, at 5-on-5 in the third period. And again, create your bounces. Like this one from Arvidsson. Is it a lucky goal? Sure. Goes off a stick. It's the reason it kind of knuckles past Shesterkin, whatever. But like we see these go in on the Oilers and get frustrated, but they go in because you have to throw pucks on net. So again, good stuff from Arvidsson. Hopefully it's a sign that he's starting to get hot. He had a really nice one-timer in this game as well earlier on. But you beat Shesterkin up by the ears after it goes off a defenseman's stick. Well, guess what? You can only do that if you direct pucks on net and take those chances. Loved seeing Arvidsson nice and fired up too. So a good goal to make it 2-1.
I think he's been playing pretty well recently.
Great read there too. I like that you showed that.
Yeah, last couple of games it seems to taking a step for him. Obviously had a good goal against Dallas as well last weekend. So hopefully things can turn it around. We've mentioned it before, but this is around the same time last year that he returned to the Kings lineup after his injuries.
And really played well.
I think he had 15 points in 18 games, something like that.
6 goals.
Yeah, so hopefully we can start to get that guy. We don't need anything great. We just need good.
No, you just need complimentary, which is what you're paying Viktor Arvidsson to do, which is the role you need him to be, or need him to be in. The Oilers would get the insurance marker with 3:25 to go when, again, shoot the puck and good things happen. Connor McDavid, 25th of the season. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins finishes off a 3-point performance for the Edmonton Oilers. And, hey, even Brett Kulak gets in with a little secondary assist. But McDavid, he's been trying to do it a little bit more. I will give him credit for that. But, God, do the Oilers ever need this come playoff time? I just think of so many big playoff goals that he's scored that are not even his vintage, ripping around, walking through defensemen and then tucking it in on the ice. He scores goals like this in the playoffs, and this is what the Oilers need. Connor McDavid to have a shoot-first mentality. Dry says McPass-first should retire. And, no more pass-first mentality, Connor. It is too late in the season. The stakes are too high. Rip pucks like this. And also, you get a bit of luck because usually Igor Shesterkin doesn't get beat clean like this. But if you watch the in-tight replay, that puck is flat, flat, flat. Then right as Connor McDavid releases it, floop, up on the side, knuckles its way under Shesterkin's glove, bang.
It's a nice goal. The Oilers beat 2 really good goalies this weekend, who many would regard as like 2 top 5 goalies in the NHL.
Yep.
They didn't score a lot of goals, but they scored enough to win the games, and their 2 goalies did a good job of only allowing 2 in both of them. And I think defensively, the Oilers did a really good job of not making life too difficult on Skinner and Pickard as well. But when they were called upon, they performed. And at the end of the day, that's all the Oilers need from these 2 guys. They don't need Shesterkin or Sorokin level goaltending. They need average Pickard and Skinner goaltending. That's basically it.
Like, that's also what got them to the Cup final last year was not Stuart Skinner playing out of his mind and stealing game after game after game after game. He had some of those. Totally. 2 games, the one game, especially in Los Angeles in round 1. I thought Game 7 against Vancouver, he was great. Game 6 against Dallas, he was sensational. It was probably his best game of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But he didn't have to be sensational every time they won.
Yeah.
That game against New York was the closest I've seen the Oilers to looking back like the team they were last June.
1-3-1.
Well, and that's also probably
helps.
That's also probably a lesson to whatever team they go up against in the playoffs. Cough, cough, LA Kings. The Oilers can pick apart a 1-3-1. If you play passive, they can get into the zone. They can set things up, work it around, and then you just don't get the puck away from them. And for Skinner, like, he made a couple of 10-bell saves. Stopped Rempe on a breakaway. I know it's Rempe, but like still, it's a clean breakaway. Made the coming across save on JT Miller on the one-timer.
Yes, he did.
He made 2 or 3 massive stops, stopped all the ones he was supposed to, and again, the Oilers made life easy on him. He only had faced 22 shots. I'm really, really impressed with what they did at the end of a road trip in Madison Square Garden against a team that's fighting for their playoff lives. Like, all of that stuff, I thought that was really, really solid.
I would agree. I really do agree. And results kind of went their way a little bit as well this weekend with Vegas dropping a couple. And
that Thomas Hertl play, dropping it back to Eichel. And then they lose a point. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was a big one. And then, I mean, LA, they could do with them losing a couple of games this weekend, this week upcoming too. But the Oilers are in an okay spot. They've managed to narrow the gap on Vegas down to 4 points.
Yep.
They still have to play them this season, and they have to play the Kings one more time this season, if I'm not mistaken. So, plenty to play for. 2 more times there. Thank you. Twice they play the Kings. So. A lot on the line. It's going to be an exciting little bit here. The Oilers back at home this week. Utah, Winnipeg, and Seattle.
If my math is correct, I was just doing it on the fly. If Stuart Skinner stops his next 45 shots, I believe, he will be above a 900.
There we go.
Counts on, everybody. Counts on. Can Stu Skinner get back to above a 900 save percentage this season? Would you bet on that?
Yes, but not in the next 45 shots.
No, you don't think he's ripping off a couple of shutouts now that they're back on home ice?
No, but I think he'll play well. I think he might be back in his bag.
Bag alert.
I think he did okay against the Devils, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he was the reason. Buffalo wasn't great.
Well, let's go back through the games a little bit. His last 5 games, Montreal, he was one of their best players.
He played well.
Dallas,
unlucky.
Did not deserve an 840 in that hockey game at all. Was the better goalie in that game. Buffalo, which one didn't we like against Buffalo?
The first one when the rebound.
Yeah. Tage Thompson.
I don't think the team played well at all.
No.
He didn't play well either.
No, but you're right. You can criticize him for the Buffalo game. That's one where you would have liked to see him win 3-2 in overtime.
Yeah.
Not lose 3-2. So, again, that one goal ended up being a difference maker. New Jersey, I don't think you can really criticize him for that one.
I'm trying to...
Every shot he saw, he could stop.
Yeah, like it was
the Pesci one, obviously.
Nemec was a screenshot.
Yeah.
Brat was a screenshot, and Pesci was the one back door. You know, if I would feel better about the New Jersey game if the Buffalo game wasn't right before it.
Yeah, that's
and that
fair.
goal, like, I don't want those 2 back to back. But then he goes back against the Rangers and plays excellent. Outduels Igor Shesterkin. So, yeah.
Not awful. Utah is going to be a big game for them. They can't go back home and lose, so give first game again.
Yeah.
Because they gave the fans, like, an idea against Carolina that was, okay, maybe they figured it out now. They got Anaheim, a softer game on the calendar, and they blew it. The first 10 minutes of that game were awesome. The rest of it was horrendous, to put it politely. But there's 4 games in a row here at home. Then a back-to-back Dallas-Seattle. That is interesting.
That is a weird little scheduling blip, but they obviously wanted them back home for Saturday. I'd prefer it this way versus the doubleheader the other way.
Maybe they could have just put the Seattle game earlier in the week.
Well, you don't know what Seattle's schedule is. But yeah.
I suppose. But
I would have preferred Seattle to be on the other side of Dallas, and you played the doubleheader, then have the 2 days off there. But anyways, point is they have 4 straight home games here. 2 really, really big tests, Dallas and Winnipeg in there. 2 games that you just absolutely point blank need to have. The Oilers have the 28th hardest schedule down the stretch. In other words, the 4th easiest schedule in the National Hockey League down the stretch. That only matters. That only comes into play if you go and actually win those hockey games. So what do the Oilers need to do? They need to go and win those hockey games. Since March 1st, where do you think the Oilers rank in points percentage in the NHL?
March 1st?
Since March 1.
So that would be the Anaheim game, right?
Anaheim game onward.
24th.
Yeah, 17th.
10th.
Oh.
Whoa.
They're a top 10 team in the month of March. And again, like, small sample size. It's been 2.5 weeks. But winning those 2 games, looking as good as they did, it doesn't, I'm not sitting here saying they're all the way back as much as I, wrote Parade is back on behind me today. But I'm just saying they showed some signs over the last 2 games that have me feeling a little bit better. But this 4-game homestand is a test. And honestly, it's a chance. Someone just commented it in the chat. I don't know what their name is. Don't know how to read that. But they said major W streak alert. It's on them. Like, they have it in them to do it. They just got to giddy up.
I would like to see them blow out a team.
I would love to see them blow out a team.
They said on the broadcast, I don't remember the exact number, but it was something like last season the Oilers had 2 goals or more wins, like 24, 26, something like that times last season. This year there's only been 12.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it is the fact they can't score on empty nets. That's huge.
That Matt Henderson, Archeola guy, had a banger of a tweet where he was like, because someone was like, when the net's empty, Leon Draisaitl's brain flips into Cody Ceci, and then Henderson said it's like an episode of Severance. The goalie comes out and Draisaitl's just like, whoa, and he's just Cody Ceci all of a sudden. Last time the Oilers beat a team by 3 or more goals. Oh boy.
Vancouver.
Vancouver 6-2 on January 23rd.
Oh, before that, I couldn't even. Minnesota, I would guess.
No, that was 5-3. It was Boston, Jan 7.
Before that was Minnesota.
They haven't blown out a lot of teams this year is kind of the point, but hopefully, again, the math should start mathing if they continue to play the process and like the style they had against the 2 New York teams there. If you keep that rolling, the math will start to work in your favor, and you will get games where you blow teams out. So, again, Utah, Winnipeg, Seattle, Dallas, 4-game homestand on tap. But before we keep talking about that, we're going to be joined by Louie DeBrusk in a little bit as well. Let me float your way a little Sherwood Ford Giant question brought to you by our friends at Sherwood Ford. The Giant, hockey fans helping hockey fans. And how about Nation Valet Service? Never visit the dealership again for your car service, and you'll get an exclusive swag package from us at Oilers Nation whenever you book online with the Nation Valet. Nation fans, your hockey destination is Sherwood Ford. Let's all go around the room. We're going to each grade the Oilers road trip. Let her grade it up, and then we'll throw it in the chat, and we'll let people decide what they think. But Liam, let me start with you. What is your grade for the Oilers road trip?
Honestly, I think they should have won more than 2 games. So I'll give it a C+.
Okay.
I think they let themselves down in those 2 games against Buffalo and the Rangers. The Devils, sorry.
Yeah, if you could have found a way to milk a point out of one of those 2 games, I'm probably getting closer to a B. But my thing was like a C's get degrees kind of thing. And it's like they survived, they got out of it, got the job done, get back home, go on a run now. Did it end your season as much as it felt like it almost did in the middle there? No, road trip as a whole. So I want to agree with you, honestly, and say C+. Aaron?
I'm going to go B- solely because I'm going to let recency bias get into it. You finished hot. It's kind of what I wanted to see. The simple hockey. Shoot pucks, traffic in front. That's all I begged for this weekend. So I got it. I'm going to be overly optimistic. B-. B-.
All right. Well, I'll start a poll here. I'm going to give everybody 4 options. I think everyone should be in the BC range. So we'll let you go from B+ to C-. You can have your say over in the YouTube. Like I said, Louie DeBrusk is going to join us in a little bit, and we're going to talk about a handful of different things with this Oilers team. But, man, what do you need to see on the homestand then for it to be an A? Is it 4? Yeah, you can go 3-1. You can lose one of Winnipeg, Dallas.
I just honestly like consistent strong effort, I think is fine. Like, I don't mind when the Oilers lose as long as they, like, it's a solid game, I guess you could say. And, like, at home ice, you should start to make Rogers Place feel difficult to play. And I don't think it's been like that much this season. So, the Winnipeg game, honestly, I think if you can beat Winnipeg, then I would put it in a bean as long as they don't go under 500.
Yeah.
You know?
Give me 5 points out of 8.
2, 4, 2, 1-1.
Yeah, that's satisfactory.
I think 5's almost the minimum at this point. Let's look at the Pacific Division standings here for a second. The LA Kings have won 5 in a row. The Vegas Golden Knights have points in 7 of 10. I know they're 5-3-2 in their last 10, but over the last 10 games, they've still outproduced you by 2 points.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be tight. I think any conversation you have about the Oilers potentially catching the Vegas Golden Knights for first in the division, it starts with the precursor that they are going to beat them at the end of the month when they play in whatever it is, 2 weeks from now, 15 days from now, excuse me. When they play 15 days from now, they're going to win. If they do that, you're 2 points back. The thing that's going to kill them is you don't have the tiebreaker. But that is also what makes that empty net miss that cost them a point all the more hilarious, because we now have a moment we can point to at the end of the year if the Oilers finish ahead of the Golden Knights by 1 point, and we can go, ha!
There you go.
You screwed yourselves. You played yourselves.
So this week, the Kings have 4 games.
Yeah.
Minnesota on the road tonight, Blackhawks on the road Thursday, and they have back-to-backs at home against Carolina and Boston. Not an easy week by any means. I think like the back-to-backs at home is interesting.
The strength of schedule goes Oilers 28th, which is good. Vegas 24th, so still pretty good.
Yeah.
LA 17th, so still better than average, but not quite as easy as the Oilers and Golden Knights.
That week after, they have Colorado and Toronto in the same week.
It's tough, although Toronto's a dumpster fire.
Are they?
Oh, they're a mess.
Oh, really?
Ever since the Marner thing came out, they've just tanked. They've tanked. It's actually like pretty ridiculous.
Producer Vic had a clip go out.
Yeah.
I think he dropped 12 F-bombs in the clip. Oh, they're in shambles.
They're doing kind of what we were doing 4 days ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll happen.
We got
though.
2 in a row.
Yeah, we're the best.
But yeah, listen. Right now, you're behind the LA Kings when it comes to points percentage. So the Oilers got to shape up here in a hurry. The wild card race right now. St. Louis won another 2 games in a row. Calgary 4-3-3 in their last 10. They're starting to lose ground a little bit. Vancouver lost on the weekend as well. They just lost to Utah yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
So that Western race is still crazy, crazy tight because Utah, I mean, you can't say Utah's out of it when if they win 1 game, they're going to be tied with Vancouver and St. Louis. It's hard to say Calgary's out of it because they have 2 or 3 games in hand on all of those teams, and they're tied or 2 points back of them. Like, I still have a funky feeling it's going to end up being Calgary. They don't hold the tiebreaker over Mini, hey? My dream is that Mini falls to wildcard 2 and goes back to their own division.
Oh, then we have a true Central and Pacific playoff bracket.
Yeah. Like, it's slim. I'll say it's like 3%. But there's a world where we still get Edmonton, Calgary round 1.
There is a crazy world out there. We
Slim.
still get that.
Slim.
It's going to be difficult. Calgary needs to start playing a bit. Well, both teams need to play a bit better. But
yeah,
it's a dream. I think Calgary still gets in.
I think Calgary. If I had to bet, I would do Calgary to get in. But let's keep things kind of rolling along. I want to talk a little bit about the lineup while we wait for Louie DeBrusk to pop in. It's for our friends at Oodle Noodle, 15 locations in the Edmonton area. Tokyo Glazed, double beef. That's my order.
I got the Sunny Chicken.
Oh, yeah, General. Yep.
I got Tokyo Glaze last night.
Delicious. 10% of that order Aaron had went to Sports Central because Oodle Noodle loves supporting the community. So the Oilers against the New York Rangers. Their forward lines in that hockey game, they actually kept them relatively consistent. The trio of Connor Brown, Leon Draisaitl, and Corey Perry played 7:25 together at 5-on-5. Nuge, Arvidsson, Podkolzin played together for 5:49. Then McDavid, Henry, Kapanen played 4:39. The only thing that really wasn't consistent was just who the fourth line was going on the ice with. Like, let me pull up Jeff Skinner's line mate report from that game because he was bouncing around quite a bit. So Jeff Skinner played the most time with Connor McDavid at 5:13. Kasperi Kapanen was second, and then he played 2:43 with Janmark. So they basically just didn't really want to play Max Jones in that hockey game, and were using Connor McDavid, and they had Janmark basically on the wing, and they were basically double shifting McDavid and Draisaitl throughout the game. But I will say, McDavid and Skinner looked really, really good together. And this goes back, and this is the frustration I have with being here on Game 67, going, Connor and Jeff Skinner look pretty good together. Why was this not sorted out in January when you had an inconsequential run of games where you should have just said, you know what, Jeff, things aren't going great for you, but we're going to believe in you. And that guy is the best hockey player on the planet, granted, not having his best season, but he's the most skilled hockey player on the planet. We're just going to force you guys to put their stalls next to each other in the bleeping locker room and say you get 5 games together and figure it out. And if they can do that, then you know what you have. The point now is every game matters so much. The coach doesn't really still fully trust Jeff Skinner all that much, even though he goes out and plays good games and does good things. But there's this glimpse of potential with the two of them. And again, against the Rangers, let me just pull up that line mate chart again. They played 5-13 together, shot attempts 9-4, shots 4-1. Expected goals were 0.68 to 0.13. Like, that's significant.
Against the Islanders, they didn't play as long together. It was 2:55, so not too shy. They were outshot their opponents 2-0. Expected goals wasn't anything. But they it's a positive sign for sure. I thought they did well. I thought Jeff Skinner played relatively well when he was in the lineup.
Drawing penalties.
Yeah, did a good job. Was very pissed off yesterday when he took that one penalty.
Because that was the replay that they showed on Sportsnet literally showed like 2 guys getting cross-checked within 2 seconds of each other.
And one got called in.
And it was like, we're calling that one. That's Jeff Skinner.
Damn it, Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. To the box.
Again, we're going to be joined by Louie in a bit. All right. He did tell me we's got some stuff going on, so we're gonna be waiting a couple minutes here for Lou Dog. But what happened with our poll? Okay, 42% of you wanted B-, 37% said C+. No one really went to the B+ range, which again I think is fair, just considering how bad they looked for those first 2 hockey games. But
I just can't creep into B because you lost to a Buffalo team that lost 6 straight.
Yeah,
you lost to a Devils team that didn't have Jack Hughes and didn't have Dougie Hamilton, and you played a backup goalie. Like, maybe the Rangers was obviously the most difficult game on this road trip, I think, on paper. Yeah. Considering the health.
Stu outdueled Chesty.
Yes. Islanders, I don't think the Islanders, this is going to sound really silly, but, I don't think they're a slouch. I don't think it's easy to go in there and, win every single game.
They're the definition of average.
Yeah, they're very fine. They have some players who I would love on the Oilers, guys like Bo Horvat and Pajot. I wouldn't trade the world for them, but if they were there, I would take them. And they can be a difficult team to play against, which is how they're supposed to be built. They're just bad against others.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our guest for today. It is Louie DeBrusk, and he's brought to you by Tim Hortons. Canada, your favorite contest is back. Roll Up to Win is back at Tim Hortons, and that means you could win millions of amazing prizes with just the swipe of a thumb. Imagine turning your routine Tim's run into an unforgettable vacation with Sell Off Vacations, a $1,000 Rakuten cash prize, or an all-new, all-electric 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz. Even the simple joy of winning a free coffee can make anyone's day, but you only have until March 23rd, so get rolling. Rules apply. Canada only. No purchase necessary. Download the Tim's app today as we bring in Sportsnet analyst Louie DeBrusk. Louie, what was the best part of that road trip for you, and why was it Gene Principe's Opens? He was in his bag on this trip.
Yeah, he was. He was, and I like the fact that this is sponsored by Tim Hortons. It's Roll Up the Rim right now, which is the best time at Tim Hortons, isn't it? There you go. Hey, every day's an adventure. You got a chance. But you know what? Listen, I think that Gene, he put so much time and effort into what he's trying to do. We never know what he's going to do either. Everybody thinks that we're in cahoots. We have no idea until we see it. We're lucky, though, that sometimes we get to see it in the pre-tape. So he does a little bit of a pre-tape first, or a rehearsal, more or less. And sometimes we'll get to see what he's doing in the rehearsal, so we know he's up to some no good before the game. But we're usually seeing it for the first time, too, because if we're not in that, our booth when he does the rehearsal, we have no idea what he's doing. So, but you know what? I would say the best thing was, for me personally, just the fact that you get to be in the same spot in New York for a week almost, for 5-6 days. You're not traveling around. It is busy. Some of the trips to Long Island, to Jersey could get a little lengthy with the timing for travel, but it just makes it so easy to unpack your bag and have a center, a base to kind of work out of for a few games in a row on the road. New York's a crazy, wild place. I get there for about 3 days and I'm like, okay, I think I've had enough of the jungle. I want to get out of here. But it was a pretty cool trip. I would say hockey-wise, the best thing was to start to see some guys produce, to start to see some guys come around and get on the board and get off the schneid. And, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had a big game last night. And I know he's been feeling a little bit of the weight and pressure of, producing right now because these guys are grinding in games and the lack of production has started to take a little bit of a toll on them. So sometimes a couple games like that where a few guys get on the board that don't typically score and now you're expecting to kind of get into a groove could be the perfect time to go down the stretch and everyone kind of find their game.
Yeah, I mean, peaking at the right time, it's kind of a thing you get thrown around all over the hockey world, but we've talked about it a lot in Edmonton over the last few years, is like, if you are playing your best hockey come April, then who cares what happened in February? Who cares what happened in January, unless it's a home ice advantage conversation, which changes things. But I thought a guy like Viktor Arvidsson, too, kind of started to play a little bit better. Yeah. He scores the big goal last night against the Rangers, too. So even a guy like that, like, think about Connor Brown last year. Didn't score till Game 70. Then in the playoffs and down the stretch did so much that he earned another contract. Like, maybe Viktor Arvidsson's a guy who can have a similar kind of arc.
You hope so, right? And I think that he hopes so. I know I'm around these guys a lot and I can see the weight on their shoulders. I really can. You can see these guys, they're not, I know that people think that, because they're not scoring, it's just whatever. No. They take this home every day. This is something they think about a lot. They're paid to produce. They're paid to be elite hockey players. And when it's not going that way, it's a tough grind. And I know we as media can be hard on them. The fans can be hard on them. They want to find that game. And like I said, it's almost like when you see guys get that goal, and, Arvidsson's been around for a long time, so he's been a 30-goal scorer. He's scored almost every year he's been in the league, and this year's been a tougher year for him. On a new team where you would expect it to be a little easier to find offense, it just hasn't gone that way. Hasn't gone that way for a bunch of guys. And I think that that's probably, if I had to put the check mark on problem number one, we talk about defending all the time, but we talk so much about defending because they're not putting the puck in the net. If they were putting the puck in the net and scoring 3 to 5 goals a game every game, 4 goals, you would say, okay, well, they can defend a little less because they only have to, allow so many goals against and still win hockey games. But when you're not producing and you're not scoring that big goal in a timely manner, then we start to really put the focus on defense because you're climbing up a hill that's unclimbable, it seems, in games. And I think that just takes a toll. I said it last night during the telecast that I think it's taken a toll on Connor. Leon has been able to weather it this year a little bit more, but the difference with Connor and Leon, and listen, Leon's having an unbelievable season, and I mean, he's right there in the heart. I think that, obviously McKinnon's getting a lot of love this year, but I think Leon, when you look at what he's done for this team in particular, and with the lack of scoring that this team has had, I think that he's done more. I think he's more important to the Oilers right now. I really do. With Connor, though, the thing with Connor for me is, and that was a great goal he scored last night. And there's another guy. We don't talk about it enough. He was excited and smiling on the bench after scoring that goal. He's been feeling the pressure as well. He is still just a human that struggles like everybody else. I mean, I know we see so many great things from him over the years that you're like, this guy, he's, you can't ever kind of wear him down. Well, he skates more than anybody. He's a guy in a game that if you watch him, he's always in motion. He doesn't slow down. He doesn't stop. And I think that because of that, the wear and tear can take a toll on him a little bit more. But it was nice to see Nugent-Hopkins back up on that line again. I think he, obviously spread out down the third line, and that's to try and get him going, moving his feet, driving his own line. But then he gets thrown out there late with McDavid, and you know what? They capitalize. A nice little pass inside. But Connor does what Connor does, gets to the middle, and he shoots the puck. That was the only shot on net that he had in the game. And I think that's the biggest thing that we talked about this year is, that confidence might not be there with the shot. And we wonder that. We as people go, are you kidding me? This guy scores 64 goals. How can he not be confident shooting the puck? But he's like anybody else. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. And right now he's feeling like he wants to pass. It was awesome that he shot that puck right from the middle, picked the corner, and buried it. And he's got that elite shot too. And I think that sometimes is all you need is like, hey, you know what? I can kind of put this puck in the net. Why don't I take the shot a little bit more? The fact he came out in the first, I think it was first minute of the third period and took that shot. I don't know if it got tipped, but it missed high. But that was a really good sign of how the team was going to play in the third period, and they pulled that one out. So that was a better sign of them taking control. They held on at the end because the Rangers started to push big time, and Stuart Skinner had to make some saves. But, yeah, you know what? Listen, for me, I just think these guys are feeling it. There's a lot of pressure. There's a ton of expectation on this team right from day one. But they're coming together right now, maybe at the right time. You're right, Ty. This is kind of one of those things where you go, okay, you know what? They've gone through their low part. They've kind of had some struggles. They had a real big stretch there where they just rolled along and were one of the best teams in the league. This is a little reality check, maybe at the perfect time before they build themselves back up to the playoffs.
What did you make of Jake Wallman on this road trip? He seems to have kind of slid into this team and found himself a role that maybe wasn't necessarily there before. I know Bob tweeted out yesterday had 6 blocked shots in the game against the Rangers.
You know what? I didn't think that was as much a part of his game as it is, Liam. To be honest, I kind of felt from watching him, we don't see him all the time, but I kind of felt like he's an elite skater, number one. That's the one thing you notice right away. And he talks about that. We had him on After Hours, and he talked about it. Just that's his number one skill he feels is his skating ability. To be a great defenseman in this game, typically, you better be a good skater. Now, there's guys that aren't elite skaters. Adam Fox, we just saw him in New York. He's not an elite skater. I'm telling you, he's not. But he's so smart. He's so intelligent and smart and patient and poised at the right times, and he makes it work. This is a Norris-winning defenseman. And it's amazing that you can do that when you're not, an elite skating defenseman. He's a great skater. He's a good skater, but he's not an elite skater in the NHL. Whereas I would tell you that Wallman is approaching that eliteness with his ability to skate, which is a great asset. The other thing, too, and Connor McDavid mentioned this in his press conference yesterday, he's more physical than he thought. He goes, I didn't know he was that physical. Well, he's been throwing his weight around. He's been taking bodies, a big hit, obviously, on Rantanen in his first game. But the blocking shots for me, and you bring that up, is something that it's almost every game you notice it. It's the timing of getting down the shot. He goes down the one knee a lot. He kind of plays, and then he has the ability to just close it off at the last second. Which, you know what, when you're trying to defend, I think blocking shots is so critical. And the timing of the block shots, I think, is critical. So I thought he had a really strong start. I think that, obviously getting into a team, all the emotion of the trade, coming in, traveling here, then all of a sudden jumping to New York, back-to-back games in New York, I thought there was a little fatigue, it set in, but that was everybody, not just Jake. I thought the whole team looked a little bit fatigued. At times where they really had to dig in and grind. It was a grindy road trip. They were not easy games. But I thought he came through like everybody else and just weathered it. And he's a player that I think, because of the skating ability, knows how to kind of manage his game a bit in the right way. Just says, I'm not going to try and do too much. I'm not going to get up in the play too much. I'm going to preserve my energy here and just play strong defense. And when I get an opportunity, give it a try. I think as this goes along, we're going to see him kind of come out a little bit more offensively, because right now I think he's so concentrated on the system, trying to be good defensively, that he's not really jumping on the offense. But I think once he gets a little confidence with the team and the players and understands guys a little bit more, you're going to see him start to do that. Plus he's playing with Bouchard, so Bouchard's a pretty offensive guy. So you're automatically going to be the stopgap when Bouch starts doing his things on the line. You're going to be like, I'm going to back up on this line just a little bit just to make sure, because if it turns over, then, an offensive defenseman have to have that ability to go and make those plays. They do. They have to have the ability to go make mistakes, or the leeway to do that, because if they don't, then they're not going to produce offensively like we expect them to do.
Yeah, I think the other thing too with Wallman is just like, to be very blunt, he has only played on losers in his NHL career. Like, when was the last time he had to play a big game in April? I know they're pros and they take every game seriously, but like, I really do think, one, if he goes next to Darnell Nurse, he can start to be a little bit more aggressive than when he's playing with Bouchard. He'll get more comfortable in the system, like you said. And I'm just excited to see what the adrenaline of playing in big games could do for this guy, because he's willing to, like we saw yesterday, totally sell out.
Well, you know what? It's amazing, because that was the first things the guys said when they came to Edmonton, when you ask them about the trade and, hey, coming over. Even a guy like Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner, I mean, look at him now. He was digging in last night. He gets himself in the lineup. And when we're talking about Jeff Skinner drawing penalties, when we're talking about him back-checking, when we're talking about him in scrums and competing, I think that's all that anybody really kind of was a little worried about at the start. You can't be a perimeter guy that just kind of doesn't really get involved. And quite frankly, Jeff Skinner is an interior guy. He's a guy that when he gets to the inside, that's where he scores a lot of his goals. He scores a lot of his goals around the net. He's got great hands. But I think that the opportunity to play meaningful games, like you're talking about, Ty, and the opportunity to go into the playoffs and maybe play playoff games, I think that's overwhelming for players that have been in the league for a long time that haven't seen a lot of playoffs. You know, they understand that there's only so many chances and the careers are only so long. So I think that that energy and that excitement, I agree with you. I think that can rub off on a lot of people. And Jake Wallman seems really excited about playing meaningful games. Like you said, he didn't play on a very good team in Detroit, and he was in San Jose, and he was their best defenseman there, top producing defenseman. But, you know, that's all fine and dandy. Every single guy wants to get into the playoffs and have a chance of winning the Stanley Cup, period.
The Oilers, obviously, these last 2 games played much better than the first 2 games of the road trip. A lot of contributions, but nothing was better than watching Calvin Pickard make the pass to Leon Draisaitl in overtime, and then also go and dig out a puck behind the boards. Like, he was doing something in that overtime that we have not seen from an Oilers goalie since Mike Smith.
This is crazy. Like, going and getting this puck, I know this wasn't the assist. That's bananas.
Well, you know what? I love it, though. You know, I got to tell you this. Calvin Pickard, he's a great interview. I don't know if you guys have ever talked to him, but I tell you, he's a hockey player. I know we say that a lot about players that aren't goalies, but if you listen to Calvin Pickard, he's had to be a glue guy in the rooms and everywhere he's going. When you're a backup goaltender, you have to learn how to fit in a lot of different environments. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be a really likable guy, and he is. It's funny because, you know, I think Jack calls him the governor because he's always talking to everybody. When I was on the benches, between the benches, he's always talking to the opposite team. And there's that pass up and the beautiful finish by Leon. But here's the thing. He has a great awareness of the game, you know, and it burns me to say it, but that's why goaltenders are good analysts. Is it tough guys or goalies, right? It's always tough guy goalie debate, but goalies make good analysts because they see the game from a broader perspective. When they're in the net, they have to kind of be aware of everything on the ice at every time, especially when the puck's in their end. They still have to be aware of where everybody is. So they have a great awareness of where the play is going to happen. They have the scouting reports on power plays, so they know exactly where the puck's probably going to go. They have tendencies. So because of that, they look at the game from a different perspective, as opposed to sometimes we get really ultra focused on an individual player, which is natural. You know, a guy like Connor gets the puck and starts winding up the ice. We are dead focused on Connor McDavid. We're not looking around going, okay, who else is with him here? We don't care. It's like he's just going, right? But in a goaltender's perspective, that's what it is. So I'll give them that compliment because they see the game. And the better goalies are. If you want to be a good goalie in the NHL, you better be able to anticipate a play. But for Calvin, I think that he just wants to get in there. He wants to battle. He's a little old school, which I love. He comes out a little further than normal. He challenges a little more than most goalies, but he's just in the thick of the game and he's thinking on his toes. And that I thought that pass was intended right for Draisaitl. I have not asked him yet. I haven't got chance to ask him. I got sidetracked at the rink yesterday, and I meant to ask him because I talked to Dustin Schwartz after. He says that he meant to go to Connor. I go, are you sure about that? Look where Leon was, and look where he fired that puck. Connor had to reach out to. I mean, Connor did a great job just to receive it and then put it. But look where it is. I think he's firing this puck up the ice because he knows Leon's the last man. He's gone. And for him to be able to see that, but even understand that that's an opportunity at that time. You heard Leon give him a lot of credit after the game, saying that's elite. That's elite vision to be able to see that in that moment, because that puck can turn over the other way and it can come back to him too. And then, you know, Leon Draisaitl's on a tear right now, and I think we're all excited to be watching the 50-goal watch again. So, yeah, good job by him. And you know what? I love the fact that he got in there and got a big win for the team. And then Stuart Skinner did it the next game. I think it's important for both guys to be rolling.
Yeah. Last one for me. And if this is recency bias, then you can tell me it's recency bias. But I've just been paying attention to Chris Knobloch in his post games. He hasn't been afraid to not fully call out guys, but say things that you're like, ooh, yeah, I know who he's talking about. And I feel like he hasn't done that a lot in the past. Then we even had in the game on Long Island, Perry sat after his penalty. Nuge missed a shift after he turned over that puck. I feel like Chris Knobloch he's getting a little bit harsher. I don't know if that's the right word. Are you noticing that too?
Yeah, I agree with you. And, I think you start to see things for a while, and then it's, he's been pretty lenient in that regard, especially to the media. He's not a guy that's going to throw people under the bus, but there's that quiet demeanor don't let it mistake you. Don't let it fool you. There's, he knows that his ultimate currency is ice time. He knows that. I mean, every good coach knows that every player wants to play as much as possible. You take that away, that is the ultimate currency that you're taking away from a player. And he's not afraid to send some messages to people. And, it's needed. Let's face it. Come on. I mean, this is a team right now it's like they're in quicksand sometimes, and they just can't seem to get their feet moving. They can't seem to find that next gear. I know they're fatigued, the whole league is. I know these are tough games. They're grindy. Everybody's trying to get in the position. The teams that aren't there are trying to grind to be spoilers. So this is a very difficult type of time of the year where the teams that are out of it are really loose right now, guys. They're loose and they're playing hard, and they're not an easy out. Simple as that. They're never an easy out this time of year because they know that the light's at the end of the tunnel for them too. Their long, hard, disastrous season is going to come to it. I've been on those teams a few times, and you can't wait. You want to get to that line, so you're loose, you're flying, and you're just finishing off the season. The teams that are trying to get in there are gripping the stick because they're looking at the standings every day going, holy geez, that team won, this team lost. We got to get going here, and the pressure is on. So Chris Knobloch setting some messages. I agree, and they're warranted. Everything that he does is warranted, and I think the players have started to respond, which is a good sign. I think the players all want to be good, like we talked about at the start. They all want to be productive. They all want to be a big part of this, and it's good that they have that feeling still.
Louie, appreciate your time. I know you probably didn't get back to like 3, 4 in the morning yesterday, so we appreciate you hopping on and doing this.
It was a little late. That's why I'm wearing the hat today, guys. I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm coming a little cash. But you know what? Sorry I was 10 minutes late getting on here, but thanks for waiting for me. Appreciate it.
You're the best, Louie. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
There you go. Louie DeBrusk brought to you by our friends at Tim Hortons. Louie also brought to you by Service Credit Union. The Service Big Share Contest is back, and it's in full swing, and it's your chance to win $1 million just by saving money. Anyone can enter by becoming a member and saving with Service. Every $500 saved gets you 5 entries into the Service Big Share Contest. Contest ends April 30th, 2025. Skill test required for rules. Visit service.ca/win. Liam, should we continue along with the show a little bit? Let's do a little what's trending for our friends at Greta and our friends also what chaos is coming to town.
Yeah, now that'll be chaos.
What are we, 7 days away from getting things going? Somewhere around there. 10 days away? The point is, what chaos is coming? They're coming to Greta, Arcade Bar Street Food. Greta, our go-to party spot. I heard Flight Night was absolutely rocking by the third period as well. AB, we gave away our flight at Greta, too.
I think his name was Ken. Shout out to him. He won the trivia. Price is right. Liam, great questions you prepared.
How'd they go? How'd the Juja Care one go over?
We didn't get to that one.
Damn it. Do you know this
that
one?
Might have been too niche.
Well, now I know the answer, and I don't know what the question could possibly be.
Where was Juja Care drafted?
Like what pick?
What pick?
Oh, like 54th.
54th. Reese, any guesses?
72.
72. No. Unfortunately, answer is 63. Tyler wins a trip.
Is that the question? What was the question we did to give away the trip?
The question that won was how many career playoff goals does Leon Draisaitl have?
Okay.
Do you know what the answer is? 41. She guessed 70. The guy guessed 30.
Yeah.
Price is right.
Wow.
She was very optimistic.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to be back at Greta March 27th, presented by Fountain Tire, Oilers Nation, and What Chaos. Pete Blackburn, DJ Byrne, Sean, who we love. Everyone's going to be there. You should be there too. Nationgear.ca if you want to get your tickets. What's trending? Liam, we were in a Bonspiel this weekend. Your first time ever curling in like an actual game tournament format. What did you think?
I thought it was awesome. I thought I played much better when I switched to a lead.
Well, I liked our strategy. I just
got better.
Yeah.
I think maybe if I had stayed as a third for the other games, it would have probably been fine.
I think part of the issue was Connor was really, really good.
Yeah, he kind of figured it out really quickly. But we did well. We decided, so Tyler was our best player, obviously, because he plays every week.
Yeah.
And the three of us, myself, Connor, and Kelly, decided that, hey, if we just shoot 50% each in every end, we'll be fine. And we did.
Yeah.
And we played we lost in the semifinals of the B bracket.
Yeah. So we finished 2-2.
We should have been 3-0. Fletcher Kent and his team.
Team Global News, we got beef. Not really.
Well, my goodness. Tyler was making these crazy shots. We were playing, and admittedly, they were better than us.
Oh, way better.
But Tyler was making these shots.
The story earlier?
Yeah.
And in the last, they won on the last shot of the game on an absolute miracle. They didn't even mean to do it.
they were trying to do like an outside angle in play.
Yeah.
They missed the shot, but ran off 2 guards and then ran back another guard to take ours out.
The
and
double.
For the double, which is after I had just this beautiful, like, it's the best shot I'll ever throw in my curling life. It was like an angle raised from outside the 12-foot into the house, and then we lost it. But
it was really fun. My body is tender today. I am sore, but I'd do it again. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely next year. We need to find another fun spiel somewhere, and we'll do it twice in the year.
But it's cool. Shout out Jasper Place Curling Club for hosting us all this weekend. They were
Bill Fortier, Cliff Harris. They put it on. It's all the media people.
Nice.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, we played Ryder from Play 107.
Yeah.
We played a team from The Score.
Yeah.
Fletcher Kent's team from Global. And then the last team we played Fletcher Kent's son and his team.
Yeah, they were 10 to 15 years old, I think was the age range.
Beat them up. 6-0.
6 rip.
Stole every end.
Didn't even need hammer once. Bang!
Yeah. Easy
Beer in
peasy.
hand.
Yeah.
I think we finished, plus 10 in the group in the round robins in our score?
Yeah, because we won 9-3, 6-0, then we lost by 1.
6-5, something like that.
Yeah, we lost 6-5.
So we did really well. So shout out to us.
Mackay and Dry, what happened to Liam's Golf Sim League? We'll just move on.
I lost. I didn't play well because I was exhausted.
You had to curl 3 times and then go to your final.
Yeah, I curled 3 times, drove straight. So I left the curling rink at 6. It took me 30 minutes to get there. Got home at 6:30. Had a quick shower, got ready, got there, and just couldn't do it. When I was in the shower, I literally couldn't wash my hair properly. My arms were so exhausted.
Can you put them up now?
I could barely. My triceps are burning still, and my ribs are sore, and my shoulders are burning, and I feel unwell.
You're fighting it today. I love it. Did you see Stuart Skinner's new thing with Pizza 73?
No, I didn't.
So they're they're doing the whole temporary rebrand thing to Pizza 74, and they have a Skinner dinner combo. Anyways,
okay. It's just a promotion.
Yeah, I want you to rank them because we don't have a client, so we can be totally honest with this.
Yeah.
We'll call them the grab and go pizza places. So
okay.
Domino's, Papa John's, Pizza 73,
Panago.
Panago, yeah, sure. Panago's a little pricier though.
Oh, I'm a Panago man.
I know, but you pay for that.
I know, and I get the quality.
Okay. And then we'll also do, I guess, Pizza Hut as well. So those 5.
Oh, man.
Like, the local places are always so good, but sometimes there's just nothing better than just a good old grab-and-go pizza.
Okay, so if I'm... Papa John's is number 1 for me.
Really?
Well, I love a fresh Papa John's.
The garlic butter.
The best.
Yeah, the garlic
Elite.
knots are so
The
good.
best. Pizza Hut
Yeah,
is 2 for me.
like
Shout
those.
out. They were the only place open till late. I'll just say late during COVID. So I got pretty familiar with their recipes. Panago is 3. Pizza 73 is 4. Domino's is 5. Domino's is good because it's cheap, but it's
Yeah.
not actually that good.
No, it's not good, but it is the cheapest of all of
Cheapest
them.
by far.
That's why Panago's last, because I just don't think the quality for what you're getting is the gap ain't there for me.
Well, I have mastered it. That's
Okay.
why it's higher for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Pizza Hut. I don't like everything from Pizza 73, but their Hawaiian pizza is so good.
They have great wings, and I
And
know
they do
the question was pizza, but the
Yeah.
wings are good too.
The wings are good. I might go Pizza 73 1, Pizza Hut 2,
Damn.
3. I'll go Papa John's, Domino's 4, Panago 5.
Did you know Pizza Hut every day of the week has like a pizza special, and it's like $10.
Really?
Yeah, and it's legit. No, it's not just like random pizzas you would never buy. It's like your classics: pepperoni, Tuesday's pepperoni.
Pizza Hut buffet existed in Lloydminster. I
Oh,
did
yeah.
an internship
Yeah.
there. Cheap, and several of them. Honorable mention: Cosmic Pizza.
Cosmic
Yeah.
Pizza's
You can
good.
get the single slice as
Yeah.
well. There's one right by my house.
Yeah, that's
Kind of
solid.
dangerous.
People keep saying Boston Pizza. We love Boston Pizza. That doesn't really count. That's
No,
not
that's
grab
not
and go.
grab
That's a
and go.
restaurant.
It's
That serves
also-
pizza.
Yeah, too expensive.
Yeah, it is good though. I do love BP's. They have like a, we need to stop talking pizza. Did you watch the Players Championship this morning? Playoff.
I did not watch it this morning because I forgot, but I watched most of it yesterday after the rain delay.
Okay.
It's good. The Players, obviously not a major, but it feels like a major.
Yeah.
So I really do like that one. Masters coming up very quick. We're less than a month away. I think it's April 14th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I love the
My
Masters.
friends and I have already started to figure out our plans for the Sunday. I'm excited. I love golf season. The majors, I wish they were a bit more spread out.
Yeah?
I feel like they're too close to each other.
Just because it's like a season. I do wish there were a few more that lingered into the summer. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
TGL playoffs are this week, though. I know people really didn't get into it. I was hoping they would, but
it's all right.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Poor Tiger.
Tigger.
Oh, yeah, he's done. He won't be able to play. That sucks. I didn't even think about that.
Well, we do. This is Ryder Cup year, so I'm going to try and be a bit more invested in like the idea of like points and stuff like that, because the Ryder Cup is in North America this year, so we'll be able to watch it quite well. But this might be last Ryder Cup was unreal, and I'm not a huge historian on the Ryder Cup. I've watched it obviously, but I feel like the way full swing is going, the rivalry that seems to be brewing from the last one, and then also the way the President's Cup, whatever it's called, went too. Like, I think this is going to be unreal. Yeah, it might be very similar teams. I don't think the guys from Live can play on the European team though, because they had their European tour cards stripped. So in the US they don't have that same rule. So like no John Rahm, someone else of significance, I can't remember, but figure that out.
Corey Connors keeps playing really well. Shout out, good Canadian. I think one of my big bets is going to be Corey Connors top 10 at the Masters plus 450.
Oh, that's a good. He does well at the Masters too.
He does very well at the Masters.
Yeah, so I like him. One guy I always love to bet on at the Masters. I've done it 2 years in a row now. Last year it went well. Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah, Fleetwood usually shows up. Joaquin Neiman usually shows up. He's playing really good golf right now.
Best golfer in the world.
Well, yeah, Phil Mickelson's a bozo, but whatever. Okay, let's continue along quickly for our friends at, yes, I'm going to roll up my rim, everybody. I see you all commenting that. But quickly for our friends at Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner, every face-off hat trick, power play, shot on goal in between is suspenseful. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app, use the promo code NATION to get in on the game. Tonight, here's our squad ride. You ready? Columbus Blue Jackets, home dogs against the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey beat them like a week, 10 days ago. They won't beat them again. Columbus is actually one of the better home teams in the league. New Jersey's barely above 500 on the road, plus 120. The line is moving. The public is backing the Devils. Give me Lumbo tonight, plus 120.
All right, give me Minnesota.
I might even, you know what? I always like doing this whenever there's an Oilers game that's like late or the next day, because the odds are already up on the Oilers game. I'm going to parlay Columbus and Edmonton just on the money line, because then tomorrow, if Columbus comes through for me, I basically have like a plus 235 bet, or it's plus 335 to sweat out on the oil. There you go.
If Minnesota win tonight, I go 3-2 on my Safeway bets too.
Ooh.
Because I bet against Vegas on both of them, but I also bet against LA and they won. So shout out Minnesota. Let's go.
All right, should I end the show by rolling up the rim?
Let's do it. Hopefully you can win this time.
We only have a few more days left to try to get a win. Give me a good luck fist bump, like we're at curling.
It would be nuts if you lost again. I'm not going to lie. Like if somehow you just made this like 8 days in a row of you not rolling up anything.
No!
This is crazy. This is bad.
It's like 9 days in a row.
10?
It might be 10, yeah. Did we hit double digits? That sucks.
That's not good.
Sorry, Tim Hortons.
Means you do.
We got to get one before the end.
Yeah, you're winning a car.
Yeah,
that would be something.
Do you try not going to one in St. Albert? Maybe just roll into Edmonton?
I am. This one's in Edmonton. It's on St. Albert Trail.
Interesting.
By Nelson Lumber.
Maybe I'll buy you one tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see. What do you take?
Large regular.
All right.
And it's still a little too sugary.
I use one of my free coffees I've won to get it.
All right. That is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Shout out to Louie DeBrusk. I cannot wait for our hit with Devin Dubnyk this week to talk about Calvin Pickard.
Yeah.
I can't wait to show him that.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll even get like a good story out of him.
About him trying to make plays like that?
Yeah.
Let's see what he's got.
Never know. All right, that's a wrap. New episode of Real Life going to drop later today. Then tomorrow, Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show. Sherwood Power Sports and Marine Keys to Victory. All of that good stuff. Right back here at noon Mountain Time. Appreciate everybody in the YouTube. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I did wear green today, by the way. Oh, yeah, you're against
St. George's Day, April 23rd, every year, folks. Wear your red.
Liam's anti-Irish.
It's just ridiculous. There's 4 Saint days, and only one is celebrated because you can drink on it. You can drink on all the other days too, folks. St. David's Day, Wales. St. Andrew's Day, Scotland. St. George's Day, England.
Do those days have a color?
Red for England, red for Wales, blue for Scotland.
Should we celebrate them all?
Let's do
Let's
it.
do that.
So let's just get rip-roaring drunk
Yeah.
on 3 other random days? Sure.
I stand with Liam.
All right. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. We'll be back tomorrow. Oil up.